Devo apparently is late for a team activity, and the entire team decided not to show up to this game as a result, as Arkansas gets embarrassed by the Auburn Tigers by a score of 83-51. This is Arkansas basketball recap. I'm Daniel Price. That's Jacob Price. And yeah, that was embarrassing uh, in mostly every way. Maybe the first 16 minutes weren't like totally embarrassing, but every minute after that was. The second half was atrocious. I mean, Jimmy Dykes had his finger on it. If you're wondering what like the biggest problem is, and there's a lot of problems, but the biggest problem is we are not physical. And we got into SEC play today, and maybe you like are watching the previous games. You're like, what is it? What is the thing, man? I can't. Just having a hard time like really figuring out what the deficiency is here. The first SEC game just like screamed it right in your face. Y'all guys aren't physical, and that's the way it is. Graham's not physical. Brazil's not physical. Lawson's not physical. It, and our guards aren't that physical. Mark's a little bit physical. Devo can be physical. I don't expect Menifield to be physical, but it's just not their physicality is not there, and it showed up big time. And we got spanked, man, by Auburn, and that is a bummer because physicality is not like a switch you flip. I don't know if you're going to be able to fix that. And that's going to be a problem. And by the way, I'm not just saying that because we don't have big guys or whatever. It's because like Brazil's tall and thin, and Lawson's tall and thin, and Graham's not like super big. I'm talking about physicality the way that Jordan Walsh was tall, lanky, and super physical. Jimmy Witt is a guard, lanky, super physical. You don't have to be big to be physical, but we don't have whatever that is. All right, Jake, that's my opening. That's what I think. Go ahead and tell me that you agree or why I'm wrong if I am.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it. Game just ended. I mean, let's face it, if the Arkansas Nation feels the way I feel, nobody's watching this podcast because, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and be overly negative because, and it is the way I feel, and it could be just because the game's just over, but I think, I mean, I feel like it's probably true. You can tell me, and I'm hoping that this will come back and we'll play this clip and it'll haunt me, but I think it's over. Like, I think it's time to hit the panic button with both feet. I think we were this whole time, this team hasn't looked very good. And we've been holding on, been like, well, they'll figure it out. Muscle get it figured out. And
The
we lose.
Purdue
We've been,
exhibition.
yeah, well, we keep losing games. And we know that we've been like, well, it's bad. We're in a hole, but like Muss may dig us out of it. I think this is the first year the Razorbacks with Muss don't make the tournament. Um, I don't think this team. We always talk about Muss is going to get the most out of like the ingredients. I don't think he's got the ingredients. I don't think this team has the parts right now to fix all the problems that they have because it's not just one problem. It's it's on both sides of the ball. It's on multiple facets of both sides of the ball. It's rebounding, position, passing. Obviously, I mean, like the shooting's not even great. Like it's it's a problem. And I would even go as far as to say, to some degree, I don't know because I really trust Muss, but I hope he hasn't started resting on his laurels either because this team looks fundamentally bad at times with things that coaches should be able to by 10 games in. Even no matter how bad your team looks, you should be able to make your team get back.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a problem that's been from game two. We've been like, man, why are we always like surprised when the ball goes over our head. It's like, oh shit, there's a guy down there. And it's been 8 games since like we've realized that's happening to us a lot, and it's still happening. It's still like not maybe not as often. And the defensive out of position, dude. I mean, today I racked up that game multiple times. Brazil, he really is a conundrum because he's in some ways your most valuable player, obviously not, scoring wise and stuff, but like he creates the most problems for the defense because he's this like switch, or this like, Swiss Army knife player where he can step out and he draws the big men out and he can drive, he can fly out of the rafters. He's great in transition. He appears at times to be great defensively. We've talked about this before because he gets these highlight reel blocks. But dude, that guy has no idea. And I think it's probably due to the fact that his body is so special and he's been able to, through his entire high school career, just recover and just swat the crap out of 5'10" dudes that are pretty slow and not going to be, NBA players or even probably most of them college players. But if you look at him, dude, his body is never in the right position to keep his man, like his man that he's guarding is over here and he's trying to watch for help. But when he's in that position, his body is not turned the right way where he can keep that guy from just going, I'm just going to step over here, get the ball. Now you're behind me trying to go over my back and get the block. And by the way, sometimes he gets the block and it's great, but he is all the time letting guys, like, he's part of the break. Like they all are, but he was, I mean, you wouldn't think so, but he played bad at times today in a way that doesn't show up obviously. Like I said, you got to watch the play. Oh, it's hard to not watch where the ball is, obviously. You got to watch Brazil, while the ball's being passed around over here and you're like, what is he doing? Why is he standing like that? His guy is on the block and he's not in a position where all that guy has to do is turn, and if somebody sees him, pass is being whipped in there and you're completely out of position to stop it. And you saw it happen like a bunch of times where it may not even look like it was his guy necessarily, but he started the breakdown out of position. And Devo, I was very disappointed in, and not I mean more than just the way he played, because everyone has a bad game. That's not that big a deal. But like spiritually, like we needed a leader. Even forget about winning the game. The game, like by 15 minutes to go, it looked, I mean, dude, we didn't score. We scored 2 points for 6 minutes, and then it's like, and they built this 20-point lead. That's the time when you need a leader to go, all right, guys, we're probably not winning this game, but this is Bud Walton Arena and we're Razorbacks. Now this is about pride.
Yep.
We're going to play harder than we played at the beginning when we should have been playing hard, because we can't we know Auburn's in here. They've shown it with their attitude. They have a vendetta against us. We punked them and the whole shirt off thing, and it was the number one play on ESPN. And they've got an attitude. And by the way, they're going to win now. But now it's about respecting. And this is going to sound, I never do this because those guys, I know they know more about what it's like to be a Razorback. They have more pride, but I've also been a Razorback fan longer than those guys have been alive. And you do represent the school. And there's, like I said, no shame in losing. Everyone loses. They quit, except for Menifield. And that shove and stuff, like, that's just not what we need from a leader. And it was I was embarrassed, as like, if I'm glad I didn't have any Auburn friends that were texting me or anything, because that was embarrassing. Like I said, not even the way they play. Like sometimes, and like, dude, I was through all the Heath years and the Pelfrey years. You get your ass beat sometimes. There's a difference between being a bad team and playing like a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, you guys, there was in that second half, there were times that one point guard was just like backing down, and like we were just like, and he's just like, well, I guess I'm 7 feet from the basket now. I guess I'll just turn around and lean and throw this in. It's like, what are we doing?
What about
They're up by 27. Are you like, you guys you could not go down in history as the worst loss in NBA Razorbacks history at Bud Walton. How about that as a motivator?
Well, I
You
mean,
want to be the team that's on that plaque that says, hey, I wonder when some guy in 25, 50, 75 years goes, I wonder what the worst loss in Bud Walton Arena ever was. It's you guys. You're in that place. You're the Buzz Aldrin of losing at Bud Walton Arena. You're on the plaque. They're making a statue to you guys. You're the team that was the worst that's ever happened, from Pelfrey to Heath to all the guys before I was born. Like, well, I know the arena hasn't been there that long, but I'm just saying, like, it's bad. Like that was bad, and like I said, that's just frustration. But all as far as like the overarching season, I don't know if these guys, like you said, we've got a bunch of finesse players, and I don't think he's gonna be able to turn that around. And I'm not even saying he won't be able to get them to play better and play harder and get the most out of them. I don't think it's gonna be enough to win enough games in the SEC to pull us out of this hole.
well, there is there's a thing that some of the guys in past Must teams have had. You know this thing. There's a competitive
Buzz
drive.
Aldrin's, that's his name. Is that the right guy? Buzz Armstrong? What's it?
I don't know.
I'm going.
Spaceman,
Wait,
whatever.
did I say that? Did I say the right guy? Is that
I
the
don't know.
guy?
Who knows? Who cares? The moon, whatever. Neil Armstrong. I don't know.
It's
The
Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, right?
I
I don't know
guess,
what I
yeah.
said.
Um, but no, dude, like there is a competitiveness, uh, a fire, a will to win and compete that makes you play a certain way, and a certain amount of pride. And that thing makes you um, dive on the floor. It makes you get back. It makes you do things that don't always work out, but sometimes they do. So you do them anyway. It's the thing that guys like it's weird because Jimmy Witt is a guy that was here and then left and then came back and is one of my favorite Razorbacks, even though he only came back here for and it must have him for that 1 year. Well, he's one of my favorites because like he had that like that just there's a tenacity, uh there's that it thing with a guy like that where he's like, if no one else want Jimmy Witt would have stood up in a huddle and say, "All guard Broom if nobody else wants to." Right? I mean, that's what he would have done. He said, "I'll do it. Screw it. I'll do it. I'll guard him. I'll not." And I might get owned, but I'm gonna make. He's gonna know I was guarding him, because I'm gonna be physical. I'm gonna be bumping him, and I mean, Broom was everyone's dad out there. Like he was all y'all's father. It was crazy. It was crazy. Like
and and
and I
and
know
and,
and I know he's good, but it wasn't like it was Shaquille O'Neal out there or something. Come on, guys. Like I mean, like
nah,
you.
dude, I'm sorry. Like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that guy will end up averaging 23 points a
Well,
game and be.
he's an all SEC player. I get it. Like he is like he's all SEC first or second team, but like the effort would just sucked, dude. Like
No, the
you
the
made it
effort that they had to put.
easier. You made it easier for him than it. You got to make it hard, dude. Like make it hard.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't, like I said, they're not even guarding intelligently. Like they're not even guarding him to the shoulder, the proper shoulder. Like, I mean, you're just gonna you already lost the battle because they passed him the ball and he's got it 4 feet from the basket, and you're behind him with your head under the basket, going, you're probably not going to stop it anyway. But you could at least try to force him away from the angle where he can just kiss it off the glass. Force him to make a harder shot that's like the 4 foot hook over the front. You know what I mean? I mean, by the way, I know you can miss that shot
Yeah.
because Graham missed 14 of them.
Well, here's
You know,
you know how I know that your defensive effort on Broom sucked is he didn't shoot a single free throw. So I know your effort sucked. How's that dude be like owning you in the post? He doesn't go to the line once. What? Dude, I'll go out there and send him to the free throw line. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, I don't want us to just go out there fouling and stuff. But if you have a guy like that that's just owning you on the inside and he shoots no free throws, dude, I have questions. like about how I have questions about how physical you're playing. Dude, I'm not even a physical basketball player. Like, you and I have played a lot of basketball together. You're a more physical basketball player than I am. I actually am a more like rangy. I'm tall, long, lean, but I will play physical. Like you, I guess I mean it's not just about like, hey, well, like we're not big, we're not thick. Like, no, dude, you can still like the effort, man. You can still, I'll like, I put someone at the line, I'll stop someone from just owning me all day long in the paint. Come on, man. Like, it's that's what I'm talking about. And that kind of stuff is like that's like deep in here kind of stuff, dude. Like, you guys want to win? Like, or do you just care about your stat line? And what's happening here? Like, are you gonna do the stuff? Are you gonna like take a shoulder to the chest and put your chest back up to take it again? Are you going to do that, or are we not doing that? And the answer is we're not going to do that. And I just thought our intensity was garbage. Which, by the way, with the exception of Menifield, like the only
That's what I
guy
said.
I
Like
don't
even
have
at the end, even at the end, he's the only one that looked like he didn't quit.
yeah, and I know like he took a lot of shots. He deserved to take a lot of shots because good grief, guys, like he I
Well, and this is another place where I would criticize Muss, and it's something that I don't understand is I know he likes to play this free flowing offense, but and I'm not saying you need to change that, but it's not been super effective this year. We haven't been scoring that well. But the main thing, it's not even that. It's not even about it's we're not getting good looks. So like
Mhm.
Menifield is taking some shots I don't like, but also if he doesn't take a bunch of those like dribble around step back three pointers, which I don't love as like I'd like to get some layups. I'd like to get some clean looks at the basket from working the ball around and setting some screens and having all of a sudden, boom, there's the guy at the elbow with a wide open J. But if he doesn't make three or four of those, we get beat by 40. You know what I mean? Like we
Well,
were
it's not
taking
only that.
really
He's also responsible for a bunch of the other points that we got too by just pushing the ball.
mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
we were way better with the ball in his hands. I mean, we weren't good, but we were way better than when it wasn't.
oh yeah, no, I mean in the first half, he was responsible for, I mean, almost all the points as far as like he scored a bunch and then his steals and just ability to push the ball in transition. That's how we got, that's how, I mean, and then that was the only time we ever got the crowd into it was that one brief moment where he was pushing the ball, getting some steals, hitting some threes. But I don't know, man. I mean,
I don't know if this team has a
I hope that
dude.
they
Does this team have a dude with that sort of Jimmy Witt, Jordan Walsh mentality? I don't know if it does.
or Jalen Williams. Like,
J- Jalen Williams, I mean, Justin Smith.
how many
You know,
charges have we drawn this year?
Not a lot. Now they're calling a lot less. That was like a point of emphasis, so that's part of it. But like we're not trying to really either.
Well, you know what it takes to get charges is two things. You have to be really smart defensively and be aware of exactly where the ball is likely to be coming.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And you have to be willing to sacrifice your body.
And you have to be physical. You have to, and that, like you said, I mean, with like someone like Jalen Williams, it's not just that he was capable of being physical. It's like you got to kind of love it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You
Well,
got
that's what I'm talking
and
about, dude. You know what it is? This is when people say like, dude's a dog. Like that's what we don't have. Like we don't have like a bunch of dogs on this team. Like that we don't. We don't have a bunch of dogs. Like that's not what we're constructed. I need Devo to be a dog. I really need you to do that. Um,
yeah, and you
I
don't
need
have
I
to
need
have, like I said,
Tremont
the
Mark
whole team
or
be that way.
or Tremont
You
Mark.
just
I
need
need
a
you to
couple of them.
Tremont Mark. I need you to step up and be that dog, dude. He can. Like he's the right build and stuff for it, and he's known as a defensive player. Like get in there and set a tone. I actually feel from us because I think that he's like trying to. I don't know if he's got five dudes that he can get that sort of intensity from, but I think he's. I mean,
Well, like I said, I don't think he's got I don't think you not most teams don't have five of those guys out
No.
there. If they do, that you're playing, 40 minutes of hell style basketball. But you need two or three. You know what I mean? And it's okay to have a finesse point guard or a couple of finesse shooter or a couple of like guys like that. But we don't have. I mean, who would you say right now? I mean, I think that. I mean, like I said, I want Devo to be that guy, but Devo looks not that good this year as far as like he is. I have to admit. I mean, I'm not a Devo hater, and he is struggling more than he did last year to stay in front of some of these point guards.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I mean, I guess I would say Mitchell, I think, can bang sometimes, but it's just not he's just not a pivotal enough part of the game. Like he's not like Jalen Williams was, where it was like, we're running the whole offense through you because Jalen Williams had a unique skill for understanding just the court and was a good passer. You know what I mean? He was
Yeah.
very good facilitator. So it was more impactful, but and Mitchell's just not as talented of a guy as he was. So like he's not going to be that's not enough. One guy that like can bang. Our other bigs, like they all they all want to like fade away from contact and throw it up there. It's
But
like we need
even Graham, like, who got like a lot of opportunity today. Like, I know you're good with footwork and stuff, but dude, Graham is like not. He's like built better to be physical than some, but he's not physical at all. Like,
no,
I
that's
mean,
what I mean.
even when he gets the ball offensively, you're like, I mean, it's like the footwork's nice, but it's not like. But like he had one play where he had like what he got like three shots, got the rebound a bunch of times, and then it just kept throwing that put. And you're like, that don't work in the SEC, dude. Like that's not like that ain't it.
Well, and he didn't go to the free throw line hardly ever. I mean, if ever, I don't even know if he went to the free throw line. But how do you go down there and you get the ball and you get that many chances down low, and you don't get fouled? And I'll tell
Yeah.
you, the reason is you pivot away from contact and throw it up. And like I said, that's not a bad.
Well,
I mean, sometimes you do that, but
here's what you got. You got Brazil, no free throws. Graham, no free throws. Lawson, no free throws. I mean, we shot 15 free throws. Uh, Battle shot 4. Davis shot 2. Bay Fall shot 2. Mark shot 4. Menifield shot 3. Like Bay Fall in the last minutes of the game is only big guy that even went to the free throw line. And then again,
yeah, I mean,
here's the other thing, dude. They only shot 11 free throws this game, which tells me that we weren't playing that physical. And of their starters, they had one starter, Jones, who shot 3 free throws. We didn't put any of their starters at the free throw line even once. None of them.
well, that's why, to your point, it's it, it there's been Arkansas teams. The Jalen Williams team is one that I remember where it's like every foul that Jalen Williams got, you were like, oh no, because we did not have anybody to replace him, and you were like, okay, don't. You could see where you're like, don't foul that guy. You're too valuable. We need you for the whole game. We got four big guys that are kind of interchangeable to a certain degree, or at least somewhat. You know what I mean? And like you said, it wasn't also like we were in deep foul trouble. It's like, well, you don't want to foul guys because you're going to be shooting in the bonus. Why are you not fouling that big man after he once he's embarrassing you? Like, and you see him
Yeah.
push you, and he's like, oh, he's about to start. Like, dude, somebody, you guys got tons of fouls.
Dude,
Somebody
we
like
had
make
11
a point out here.
we had 11 fouls in this game. 11. Brazil had 1 foul. Jalen Graham 2 fouls. Lawson 2 fouls. Mark 1 foul. Mitchell 1 foul. Battle 1 foul. And then Devo had 3 fouls. One was really only had 2 because one of them was just shoving a dude. And it's weird to say, but 11 fouls, and if you had 11 fouls for your dispersed through your team in an SEC game, I know you're not playing physical enough. I know you're not. And furthermore, I mean, like, why else do you lose this game badly? Well, it's also probably because you got out rebounded. Even though you have all that length, you get out rebounded 46-32. Because here's the thing, dude. It wasn't like that Auburn's defense made us turn the ball. We had We had 13 turnovers this game. Like, it's not awesome, but it's not like that's. I
Terrible.
mean, no, it's not. It's not 20. You had 13 turnovers. Um, you got killed on the glass. And I mean, I've said it a bunch now, but like the lack of physicality, and it's not just in the post. I just mean in general, the lack of like letting guys know that you're there, like bumping guys off spots, making guys uncomfortable, making guys not want to do that again. Like they know, like it's just not there, and it's a real problem.
Well, it's definitely, yeah. I mean, like you said, I mean, we're struggling on defense and on offense. I don't know if you know what that means, but that means you're not good at the game. Those are the two parts of the game. And if you're not good at one of those, you're bad at the game.
Yeah, and it's
And
not
right
because
now,
it's not
we're
because
not
we
that
have
good.
it's not because we have bad basketball players on this team. We don't. There's a reason this team was like, ranked 12 or 14 or whatever it was. And like there's a ton of talent and good basketball players on this team, but like the pieces don't work uh
Hmm.
together right, because you're missing like this crucial component of physicality, uh toughness, like all that stuff is not there. And I don't want to see a shimmy. I don't want to see too small. I don't care if you're beating someone by 40 until you get on like you dig yourself out of this hole. Like I just don't want to see any of that.
Yeah, well, and I mean, just to finish round off the crotchety old man, yelling at the clouds, that I mean, it's not necessarily indicative of it, but you're looking for we're looking for what they call, lunch pail guys, hard
Yeah.
hat lunch pail guys. You know what I mean? We're talking. We want a guy who's not flashy, doesn't talk, and just goes to work. He's about basketball,
Where's Kamani Johnson when
and
you need him?
yeah, and it's not that you can't have both these things together, but maybe a little less hair dye and new ink and more reps on the squat rack. You know what I mean? And the thing is, I mean, dude, I mean, you should have seen the way we were dressed when we were freaking 20 years old. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I am not judging somebody for, but like,
I'm pretty tatted up.
flat, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say you got lots of ink, and I would dress like a crazy person when I was a kid. But it's just if you're gonna have that style and that flash and like look like that's like every game, like it's like part you like that, it looks stupid when you don't back it up. It looks stupid when you're beat by 30. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
in some ways you like it's fine. That's all fine. Uh, if you're if you're doing all the other things, like that's the thing. And I'm not saying these guys aren't working hard and stuff. Like I'm sure they are. But there's some little things, dude. There's little things that these guys aren't doing. That And I know, like, taking a good dude's shoulder directly to the chest doesn't show up in the stat sheet. I know, but that's the way it is. Like,
I got to do it. I love it. I mean, yeah, as somebody who I consider myself, I mean, I'm not a very talented basketball player. I can shoot a little, and I'm not fast. I can't jump. I happen to be 6'3", so that helps a little when you're, playing against shorter people. But I love banging and around with people. And when I'm always looking for, I want to show someone, I want to surprise them with how hard my body is. And that sounds weird. And I don't mean like I'm not jacked or anything, but I mean like I'm about to set a screen and you're going to know about it. You're not going to just slide around it and go, oh, like you're going to be like, goddamn. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like that is going to go through your head when you hit this screen. This screen is come, dude. Our guys, holy moly, you got to go back and watch it. That's why I'm saying this is Muss has got to take. I mean, we'll hear his press conference. He's got to take some of this blame. Like those guys, they looked like my sixth grade daughter trying to set screens out there. Like they don't know how to like time it yet, and they're like trying to get in the way, but they're not looking for the contact. They're like, oh, I hope you kind of go around me and
Well,
slow you down a
I
little
mean,
bit. That's what our guys look like.
Muss has said, I mean, over and over again, like, I'm doing the same things. I'm saying the same things. I'm teaching the same things. He's like, I can't go out there and do them. and maybe it is. Maybe that's what it is. It's just like, I don't know. I mean, we talk about it, we practice it, then we don't do it. And you're like, I don't know. Uh, I mean, I know he said, but in the past, I mean, yeah, dude, because you had opportunities too, man. Like there's guys that got like some opportunities, man. Like go and
What do you think about? So yeah, we dogged on them enough. It's they play bad. Maybe they are bad. Maybe this season's not going to be great. What do you think about the prospect going forward? Forget about like pretend that this was just a horrible game and last game is more indicative of how they're going to play generally. Although I don't have any reason, I don't know why you would think that. The only difference between this game and the last game was we were playing a slightly worse team and Menifield went crazy. But do you agree? Like I'm having a hard time seeing not like this team will win a game or they're going to win some games, but they're not. They're going. I don't see how they're not going to lose half of their conference games. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think the only way that doesn't happen is for somebody, maybe Devo, maybe it's Mark, I don't know, one of the older guys, um, can I think I don't think Muss can do what has to happen. I think the players have to do it. And that means that you probably need someone to step up and get rally some guys, and it might not be everybody, but like it can Devo or Mark or somebody. I don't know. I mean, Menifield's young. I don't know. Maybe it's him. I don't know. But somebody say we have to play different. Like we have to be more physical. We have to do all these things. And then can you get five guys to do it? Can you get
Dude, I
some
feel like
guys?
this is like time for yeah, obviously this is like I've been doing the same thing, but it's not working. I don't know if we need to try running a zone, like because these guys aren't capable of playing man-to-man defense, and zone's going to be terrible. But maybe it'll be like one of those things where teams don't, how to play against it, and you're really long, or you could be. You know what I mean? Like play
Mhm.
Brazil, and like it's time to pull out all the stops. I don't know what we need to do, but I, like I said,
I still think it comes.
just
I mean, yes, you can make those adjustments and that, and yeah, sure. Yeah, you go dig deep into the freaking recesses of the bag and try to pull something out. But I still think like if they're going to do anything, like the players have to be like the players need to be having a meeting right now, closed door player meeting where they like talk about how embarrassed they are, and like they go and they like we have to play with some pride, we have to play with some edge, we have to be more physical, more competitive, like who is going to do this. So uh you have to have that change, I think, or anything else you do is just that has to happen before anything else is going to work.
yeah, I mean
Because you can't have that. The effort was terrible, like, and so you can't have
and that's
that.
the only good thing that you might be able to pull out of this game is that it was so bad that it could be rock bottom. Like, and the cliche that you have to hit rock bottom before you
Mm.
actually turn around. And I mean, it can't get much worse than that. A beat down in your first conference game at home, and where I mean, and like I said, there's many versions of that, and there's maybe some that are even worse than this. But that was pretty bad as far as like lackluster performance. It was effort, attitude, like I said, physicality. That was bad, and maybe that will be so embarrassing to them that that's the thing that you know the catalyst for getting them actually being determined and setting their mind to actually not letting that happen again versus maybe a 15-point loss. Just you're still an alcoholic, you're still going to have another, it wasn't so bad. You know what I mean? You think you can still, well, I'll get better, whereas this is like, okay, we have to have a come to Jesus moment here. We're not,
Mm.
that was not the performance of a good team. And but what's our record right now is that
9-5.
5. So and yeah, when you've got to win. I mean, we've got to have another 11 wins.
Mm-hmm. It's
That's
tough.
gonna be tough.
It's
That's gonna
tough.
be really tough to come by.
Yep.
I mean, depending
And
on
we're not
if
gonna.
everybody loses half their games in the whole SEC, maybe you could sneak into there with 19 wins. I mean,
Yeah.
teams have made it in with that, but like you're begging, and even that, like you're gonna have to win 10 more games. That's basically, I mean, you could do it, but
Yeah,
something's got to
it's
change.
gonna be tough, and you're not gonna do it
We're
by every guy just thinking he's a little bit sweeter and smoother and awesomer than the guy that's lined up across from him. That's not how you're gonna do it.
This game, both the way we played and the position it puts us in as far as our record goes, and the prospects of making the tournament, to me it feels like, I'm not saying it's over, but this is like you're in a stadium and your team is down 20 and there's 8 minutes left. You know what I mean? And you're like, well, I'm not leaving. I'm not that kind of, I wouldn't leave anyway, but like, but I might even pull my phone out because we're gonna have to have some help, and we're gonna have to hit some big shots, get on a run here. And it's not likely, it's still possible, but we're in a bad spot. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yep. Yep. I agree. Well, whatever happens, we've made the commitment. And so since we won't quit, we'll be here after every basketball game, regardless of how it goes. So,
This next one might be weird. I'll be in a hotel. I'm traveling to DC. Um, so that's on Wednesday. I'll be in a hotel room watching
yep.
that. So
Well, all right, man. Well, I think we'll leave it there.
all right.
Everyone have a good week. We'll see you on Wednesday.